Okay, thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Naima Saeed. I'm a professor in supply chain management at the University of Agder, Norway. But nowadays I'm a visiting professor at Robert H. Smith School of Business, University of Maryland, USA. So I'm giving this presentation from USA. And so I will talk about the Arctic shipping insurance from the industry perspective. So we all know that insurance is an important part of shipping in general, but recently it has gained attention in the context of Arctic shipping. So as ice melts and shipping routes become more accessible, there has been an increased interest in shipping through the Arctic. And the Arctic shipping insurance from the industry perspective, it involves a unique set of challenges and considerations due to the harsh and unpredictable conditions of the Arctic region. So the industry nowadays is facing challenges in assessing the premium for the ships going to the Arctic. So I will discuss some key points that should be considered from the industry perspective. So first is the navigational risk. So as Arctic navigation has many difficulties due to its particular feature. For example, it has a lot of ice, it has a severe weather, the area is remote, the temperature is most of the time very low. And sometimes the crew and the staff, they are not that much experienced and well-trained and skilled to handle the unexpected situation during their voyage in the Arctic region. And then there is an extended period of either darkness or daylight in this area. So because of these reasons, the vessels operating in Arctic waters, they may face a high risk of collisions, either with the ice or with the other ships, and that might cause several things like human casualties, environmental pollution, and the loss of assets. Now, if you look at this table, you can see that in this table, they have presented the number of incidents reported by the 6 nations of the Arctic. And this is from the time period 2005 until 2017. And these countries are Canada, Denmark, Iceland, Norway, Russian Federation, and United States. So we can see that in the case of Denmark, Iceland, and Norway, they have reported very low incident compared to the other countries, and United States, they have reported the highest number of incident in the region. So the total number of incidents are about 2,638 during this specific period of time. Now, if you look at this table, this shows the data from 1995 until 2004, although it's quite old data, but it can help us to get the overview. So this shows the type of the vessels that have faced the incidents and then the primary reasons. For instance, 22 incidents were due to collisions, 54 were due to the damage to vessels, 25 were due to fire or explosion, and 68 were because the vessel were grounded. 71 were due to machinery damage, 43 due to the vessels were sunk, and 10 were due to other reasons. So the insurance policies for Arctic shipping need to address these navigational risks before deciding the premium for their customers. And then the second factor is environmental concern. We all know that there is an increase in shipping activity, which is a good thing from economic point of view because it resulted in high economic growth and also job creation for the local people and increase in the GDP for the Arctic nation. But it has also brought some negative aspect. For instance, it has brought a great risk for Arctic ecosystem and coastal communities because when there are more ships, it means that there is a high probability of accidents, oil spills, and pollution. So, for instance, for the period 1993 until 2007, the cruise ships, they have committed 21 fuel spill incidents. So, as Mr. Gomen has discussed in the first part of today's discussion, that this oil spills is very difficult to handle when this incident happened in ice compared to the normal water. So this situation becomes more complicated. So the insurance companies, they must address the potential environmental liability and cleanup costs that they have to face in case of any accident in Arctic. Then another factor is limited infrastructure and resources. So these harsh conditions, the bad weather, and then this low quality of infrastructure in most part of the Arctic, it resulted in increased risk, and it impacts and hinder the rescue activities. But the thing is that the quality of infrastructure, it varies across the Arctic. For instance, in case of Norway, they have a very good set of assets off the coast of Norway. And if they will face any emergency or incident, they can respond quickly in an efficient way. While there is a little to no infrastructure along the coast of Greenland to respond to passenger ships in distress. So the insurance company, they also need to consider the challenges of providing assistance and support in remote and harsh conditions due to the lack of infrastructure and the availability of resources. Then another point which Professor Adolf has also mentioned, Professor Mawuli has also mentioned, which is about the data. So there is a limited data and experience in the case of the Arctic. So when we talk about in general in shipping, the insurance company, they have a very good knowledge, good information, and large set of data on traditional risk involved in shipping in general in other routes. But the Arctic is a special case. It is unique. They have a unique risk associated with them. And still there are some risks that need to be identified and measured to accurately assess the risk to develop or to suggest to a premium to their customers. Another thing is that if their customer is a long-established operator, they are experienced and skilled, then there is a risk, less risk is involved. If any kind of the less risk is involved, resulting in any kind of the incident or other disasters. But sometimes the inexperienced operators, they decide to navigate through these waters only to reduce the time and cost. And in case of especially inexperienced operators, the data is either limited or the data is not available. And so it makes it difficult for the underwriter of the insurance company to develop optimal premium rates for their customer, and also for the insurance company to develop a comprehensive assessment of the risk involved in sailing through the Arctic. Then another factor that must be considered by the industry is that vessel upgrades and modification. So we all know that the Arctic region is a risky region, and so in most of the cases, the ships, they are required to have a specialized equipment or advanced technology and some modification to handle any kind of the disaster. For instance, the icebreaker ships, they are a special class of ships that are designed to break even the thickest layer of the ice. And in this way, they can make the most inhospitable path accessible to the world, navigating through the ice-covered water, especially in the Arctic region. So the insurance company, again, it is their responsibility that they need to evaluate that whether their customers, the shipping companies, they have the enough equipment, modification, and technology to face and handle any kind of the disasters or not. So it's an extra job for them to evaluate these things too. Then another point is cost consideration. As I have discussed a few minutes ago, that some shipping companies, they select Arctic only because they can face lower cost and time if they follow the voyage in the Arctic region. But they need to remember that they have to face a higher cost in case of higher insurance premium because the Arctic, in the Arctic, there are high probability of risk and challenges. So the insurance company, they will offer a higher price for the insurance. So the shipping companies, they need to do the cost benefit analysis. They need to weigh these costs against the potential benefits before deciding to pursue the Arctic route. And now I will briefly discuss an overview of industry experience. Here I will take a specific case study. In this situation, we did a panel discussion with 4 experts from the insurance company, from the global insurance company. And this company offers insurance to the maritime sector and also covers financial protection and assists them in handling the disaster. So these 4 experts, they have a very good knowledge about the shipping insurance in general and also about the shipping insurance about the Arctic. And this is the part of the chapter, which is a chapter from the forthcoming book written by Professor Adolf, Professor Mawuli, and myself. So when we did this panel discussion, the experts, they told us that despite all the challenges, like some of the challenges I have just discussed, the company still considers that there is a strong demand for Arctic shipping insurance. So they are positive and they are optimistic about their customers' need in the Arctic insurance. And then we asked them that what are the factors that make the Arctic, in their opinion, unique for an insurance company like themselves. So they have mentioned a couple of factors. Some of them I have already discussed. For instance, remoteness, rough and unpredictable condition in the Arctic, the unique nature, lack of infrastructure, long distance, poor communication, darkness for extended period of time. And then timing of the year also plays. Do you hear me?
Oh yeah, okay, we can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry, there was some disturbance because of internet connection. I hope you did not miss much of the talk.
Maybe we just missed a few words from you. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So please continue. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. So I was just discussing the different factors that the insurance company that have mentioned during the panel discussion related to the uniqueness of the Arctic for the insurance company. So here they have mentioned one of the thing which is not mentioned in the literature, for instance, that the area is not properly mapped, which also made them difficult to make the evaluation. Then there are lack of resources in case of accident, lack of resources to open the Northwest Passage, the North Sea route, and other Arctic routes. And then we asked them that what motivates them to ensure Arctic shipping despite these challenges. The interesting thing was that these 4 experts, they mentioned that they do not consider Arctic as a region with a very high likelihood of risk. So overall, they think that it's not very risky area in terms of providing the insurance to the customers. So the reason is that the ships in the Arctic area, they sail and trade in the Arctic most of the time in the summertime when there is a less risk due to the less ice. And then the second reason is that, which I have already explained in the previous point too, that when bulk carriers and tankers, they sail through the Northern Sea route, they usually have an icebreaker following them, which makes the risk less because this icebreaker can help them to avoid any kind of the incident due to ice. However, they mentioned that if any incident happens, then it's very severe. And they also told us that they already have some experience of handling very severe and expensive claims, and they also faced difficulty in providing the rescue operation in the Arctic region. So, despite this likelihood of a severe accident, although the probability is very low, but still, if it happens, it's very severe. The company still provides insurance to its customer because the main reason is the profit. We know that these are the profit-orienting companies. So they think that if there is a high risk, then the high risk comes with the higher price in the form of the higher premium, which is a kind of the profit for the company. And they believe that their customers, they are willing to pay this high cost because the customers, they think that this cost is not that much compared to the other cost which they have to face in the Arctic region. So the customers, they avoid this high premium cost and still they buy the insurance from the companies. And then this company, they suggested some measures to mitigate the higher cost and uncertainty in Arctic shipping. First of all, they stresses the need that the international stakeholders, including the government, they should invest more to improve the infrastructure and resources. Then, as we had discussed, that the salvage and rescue system available at a lower cost is very limited. This should be improved. And then they also recommended that the sea belt around the Arctic Sea should be mapped because this mapping the sea belt can help the insurance company to improve the risk assessment quality. Then they also mentioned that the international players like Arctic nations and other strong nations, they should play their role in reducing the geopolitical tensions in the area. And then the current sanctions on Russia due to Russian-Ukraine war has also made the situation more complicated. So this is all from some thoughts about the Arctic insurance from the point of view of the insurance companies. Thank you.